Hello everybody, and welcome back to Hard Officers Halls. This week is another solo episode with me, Kyle, and I will be showing you this amazing hard off that I came across on a camping trip that I went on with my family right in front of Mount Fuji. This hard off is directly in front of Mount Fuji. So you see that big shape behind the hard off there and all those clouds? If those clouds weren't there, you would have a beautiful, unobstructed view of the famous Mount Fuji. And this is something you don't see all the time in hard off. This is a sharp, clean computer, an old monochrome kind of terminal PC. It's a bit older than anything that I'm interested or looking for, and it does say junk on it, so it most likely has some issues, and for close to $250, I definitely didn't want to spring on that one today. So here we have a junk PC engine for about $100. Again, not anything I'd want to jump on. Hey, here we go. A Game Gear for $50 thereabouts. Also junk, so most likely has issues. It's hard to come across Game Gears at a good price, working or not. There's the beautiful Famicom AVS, the dog bone controller model for about $100. That's also quite steep. And a Super Nintendo Junior, we call it in the US, for about $100 as well. The Japanese version of the mini Super Famicom, not a bad price, about $70. And here's some Game Boys, one of my personal favorite systems. Looks like these two DMG-01s are in the $40 to $60 range, and a couple Game Boy Colors for there, right around $30. And here's an old Game & Watch for Judge. Lots of 3DSs, and here you can get the whole Rockman collection on Famicom for about $130. It looks like a collection of all loose carts. See a copy of Pizza Pop up there? We talked about that in a previous episode. And here's a couple of PC Engine carts. On the left there is Legend of Valkyrie from Namco in 1990. It's an overhead action game, and it supports 2 players for about $21. And here's R-Type 3 for $100. And here's Godslayer, also known as Crystalis in the US. It's a 1990s action RPG from SNK for about $45. And here's a couple of Wonder Swans. That's a good price for those bad boys. Around the $15, 1,600, 1,500 yen range. And a Game Gear for about $65. That's working. That's a really good price around here for Game Gears these days. There's Turtles in Time and Demon's Crest. Here they call it Demon's Blazin' for about $54 thereabouts. Contra for, $30. And here's one of the Super Famicom memory carts, as well as a Rockman game, and Axelay, the shooter from Konami, for about $40 loose cart. And Castlevania, that's what it goes for, about $50 loose cart on the Game Boy Advance. I've never seen it in person for much less than that. X-Men versus Street Fighter, and there's a Battle Load Runner. I believe that's on the Saturn. I'm not 100% sure. About $60. That piqued my interest. And of course, Battletoads, always pricey at about $100 for a loose cart. And loose Game Boy games. As well as this Master System game hiding down here, Load Runner. If you watch the channel much, you know that I'm a big fan of Load Runner. I would love a t-shirt with that on it, or a hoodie. And here's Gargoyle's Quest. Call it Red Arimer in Japanese. $30 in box. That's solid. One of the best Game Boy games. And Outrun on the Game Gear for around the same price, about 30 bucks. But look at that clean box. It's vibrant. And Outrun, it's a great game. Drive around in your Ferrari and just try to keep on going as long as you can. So here we have a lot of box Game Boy games hanging out in a hard off. Always cool to see Game Boy and Game Boy Advance games in box. There's Rockman X5 for the Game Boy Advance. And here, we talked about this in a previous episode. This is Slime from Dragon Quest, his action RPG series. This was released in 2003. It's the first in a series. They also released one for the DS and one for the 3DS. It's about 1,600 yen in box. Not a bad deal. I've heard a lot of good things about these games. And here are the 3 loose Game Boy carts that I was most tempted by. The Prince of Persia, R-Type 2, and Bionic Commando. Each about $20. And there was just too much good stuff in this store. I had to really make some tough decisions. I didn't end up going with any of these. But it was cool to see them, and I'll pick them up another time. There was Animal Crossing on the N64, and F-Zero X on the N64 in box. All these games look so cool. Look at this artwork. This knight standing in front of his horse. This game's Vermilion, also called Sword of Vermilion for the Mega Drive. Released in 1989, I believe, in Japan, from Yu Suzuki, who also made Space Harrier, Hang On, Outrun, etc. This is a side-scrolling shooter pronounced Jinogu, called Wings of War in the US. That was released in 1991 in Japan, and made by the same people who made the Cho Aniki games later for the PC Engine CD. Looks really cool for about 4,000 yen in box. One day. I don't have a Mega Drive right now. Here's Devilman. This is a side-scrolling adventure game released for the Famicom in 1989. It's based on the manga of the same name by Go Nagai, who I believe also created Cutie Honey. About 3,000 yen in box. It looks cool. Looks like a fun game. Exploring the city and fighting the devil. What else could you want from a game? Lots of nice box Famicom games. Got Gradius, of course. Always pick it up and take a look at it. The box art's incredible. It looks to be in really good shape. 3,000 yen in box. I have the loose cart, and I'm not a huge collector. I buy things that I like, and I have a copy that plays, so I'm happy with that for now. Here's Dungeon and Magic, Sword of the Element, not to be confused with 1994's isometric beat-em-up, Dungeon Magic. No, this is different. This was released in 1989 for the Famicom. And it's a first-person RPG, not unlike old Bard's Tale games. So many games. Lots of standards for the Super Nintendo. This one stood out to me because the logo is really hard to read. This is Lanus, which is probably better known in the West as Paladin's Quest, released in 1992. It's a JRPG, turn-based RPG. That's not really my thing, per se. But it was released by Enix in the US. 1,000 yen in box. That would make somebody happy, just not me. Derby Stallion, our favorite horse racing betting simulator. And Gradius 3. Yeah, really cool. 3,000 yen inbox. One day she will be mine. And here's the Super Mario Brothers collection for 1,300 yen, thereabouts, about 13 bucks, which is, for a box in this condition for this game, it's one of the best deals I've ever seen for it. And this is Death Braid, also known as Mutant Fighter, from 1993. It's a fighting game, and even though it looks medieval, it's mechanically speaking, it's more like a wrestling game. So it's kind of a hands-on wrestler, more than like a sword fighting kind of game. But the aesthetic is very medieval, kind of Conan the Barbarian-esque. So here there's a massive PS2 collection. PS2, you know, it was such a long-running console, and it really shows, because every hard-off just has so many PS2 games. Here's one. It's one of the 3D Goemon games. I don't know a whole lot about it other than a lot of people like this series. I have a couple of them myself that I just haven't really given the time that they deserve yet. Tons of PS1 games. PS1 and PS2 all day, everywhere you go. And here's a pretty respectably sized GameCube section for a hard-off. It gets my respect. Luigi's Mansion, always a good time. A number of Resident Evil titles for you to choose from. Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. Spider-Man. Eternal Darkness. See a Bomberman game, Phantasy Star Online, Episode 1 and 2. I played this stuff so much in high school with my friends on GameCube. I remember once my friend fell asleep while he was playing, and we found him the next morning with his character still in-game, and he was just asleep at the chair. Chibi Robo. We pull this out a lot when we come across it. You're just this cool little robot running amok. And into the Saturn section. Somebody on the channel recently asked about Super Robot Tyson games, and here's one for you. It's about 300 yen on the Saturn. I know nothing about this series. I don't know if this is helpful for you, but there you go. There's one of the games. And here's some PC games. See some Ease titles. And here's an art collection from Ishinomori Shotaro, who created Cyborg 009. And he also created what went on to become Power Rangers. In Japanese, it was called Super Sentai. This looks to be just like a big box PC collection of some of his artwork. Kind of cool. Here's a big box version of Theme Park for 300 yen for the Macintosh. Looks to be in really nice shape. That's just about it. It's just kind of cool. It's a big box Japanese version of Theme Park. What else do you need? And the great Sega Pico games. We came across a Sega Pico console in a previous episode of this series, and we were really tempted to pick it up. I think eventually one of us probably will. And PC Engine games. R-Type 1. Not a bad little selection here. They have quite a few of them. I probably should have pulled more of them out. I know a lot of people who watch the channel are interested in PC Engine, so I'm going to be more careful with that in the future. Here is Legend of Xanadu from 1994. It's an overhead ARPG from Falcom, the creators of Ease. It's kind of interesting. Legend of Xanadu features some side-on action sequences and a leveling system for weapons and armor. Cool RPG. And here's Gegege no Kitaro. It's a famous anime series in Japan, and the PS1 game is apparently pretty good as well. Of course, we have to pull out From Software's Kingsfield 2. Even though it's a best of edition, I always look at these games. And here's Kingsfield 3. These are real clunky and awkward to play, but I love them. The atmosphere is really cool, and the polygonal character designs. I just like everything about it. We talk about the Simple series a lot. It's a series of games that were designed to be cheap, released in Japan. And anytime you come across a section that says "the" in all capital letters on titles on the spines, it's usually the Simple series. This one here that I had in my hand was a dodgeball game, and it looks like they have chess. This is Earth Defense Force. That was the second one. And here's a shooting game of some kind, a war game. I don't really know what this is. It's some kind of quiz game. And another war game of some kind. And this, whatever that is. I'm sorry, my Japanese isn't good enough. I need Zach. This is a combat flight sim of sorts, all in the Simple series. It's just really interesting. A lot of these were just kind of rip-offs of better-known games. Here's a wrestling game. I want to design my own character, in this cheap Simple series wrestling game. Looks like fun. And Metal Slug 3. I honestly don't know a whole lot about Metal Slug, so I jumped in with this game, Metal Slug 3 for the PS2. I've heard it's one of the better ones that you can play. Metal Slug 3, that is. I don't know about this specific version, but for, what was it, 1,000? Yeah, 1,000 yen. I got it. Of course. And here's a funny RPG for the DS starring Tingle from the Legend of Zelda games. This is freshly picked Tingle's Rosy Rupee Land. You're a young Tingle going out on adventures, and it's just really goofy and looks like a good time. For 1,000 yen, I was tempted. I was really tempted. This is Space Invaders Extreme for 1,600 yen, which is pretty crazy. I know Space Invaders Extreme 2 goes for a lot of money these days. And even the first one, I think we've come across it in previous videos, and it's never been under like 4,000 yen. So I was excited to find this one, and I picked it up. Speaking of picking things up, I didn't buy this, unfortunately, but I did pick it up with my hands. It's an MSX from Casio. MSX, of course, is the computer system that was mostly big in Japan. And there's all kinds of different models and variants, and right now, we on this channel, we are very interested in these systems, and we will end up with some before too long. PC Engine Core Graphics 2 for $170. And the beautiful PS1 with the LCD screen. I love it. I just have no reason to spend $100 on it. I'm going to be patient and find it for cheaper one day. And here's a Neo Geo console for 350 bucks. That's what they go for. That's just what it is. I don't know what these torn things are yet. If anybody knows, please tell me in the comments. I could also Google it, but I don't know. I never had a PS3. I don't know what this thing does. I see it all the time in Hard Off. There's a PSP Go. I don't know what you can do with those these days. I guess you'd have to mod it to do much of anything with it. Some PSPs. Just your usual Hard Off locked case type stuff. There's some Neo Geo games. Look at those bad boys. They're like the size of college textbooks. 4,000 yen, you can get a couple Samurai Spirits games. Why not? A twin Famicom. In box. Looks like it probably works. It's not, it doesn't say junk. 160 bucks. Oh yeah, one day I'm gonna have one of these. I see a lot of other people on YouTube and just the internet at large picking these bad boys up, and I'm jealous every time. Tons of box consoles. Dreamcast, Super Nintendo, Xbox 360, Wii U, PS3, a Wii Fit Plus. Come on, guys. Lots of controllers. Are you excited yet? No? That's okay. Another Super Nintendo Junior. Lots of just your standard Super Nintendos. There's a bundle with some games for almost $90. That's a bit rich. And here's another AVS with dog bone controllers for about 65 bucks. That's more my speed. Just get some retro bright on those bad boys. Look at this ice blue N64 for 13 bucks. Love it. They got the golden one and this weird blue PS2 for about 50 bucks. I like these PS2 variants, the old fat PS2s, different colors. They have the cherry blossom color one. I'm not sure what the deal is with this blue one, but it looks really cool. In general, the PS2, that might be my second favorite console of all time. Dreamcast, Sega Saturn, a few of them, a Mega Drive. Mega Drives are pricey. I've heard of people finding them for about 30 bucks in Japan, but they're always in that $80 range when I come across them. I don't know what the deal is. It's a fighting stick of some kind. Old school PS1s. And then we get into I see a couple kind of Famiclone type things. And more torn, I don't know what it is. Here's a handheld Famiclone, which I'm actually pretty interested in for 13 bucks. If the store didn't have so much other cool stuff, I might have picked it up just to see what it's like. Here's a controller for Densha to Go for the Wii. So you can just drive trains all around with this cool controller. What a good time. For 120 bucks? Yeah, maybe not today. Here's an NEC personal word processor, Mini 7 HR. It just looks cool with the vertical screen and the dual floppy drives and the empty bay of some kind at the top right. I want to do something with it, but there's nothing for me to do with it other than look at it and appreciate it. Now we are safely within the junk section. The comfortable confines of the junk section. Just aisle after aisle of this. Mario Dance Dance Revolution. Old consoles that probably don't work. Fighting sticks that probably don't work. A Famicom disk system. It says that it took power, but it wouldn't play games. For 3,000 yen with a beat up box, somebody could give it a loving home, tinker with it, maybe get it working again. But that somebody is not me. Here's a PC Engine Duo R. It's a really nice PC Engine. I think this also had some issues. I'm not sure exactly what. The check time, it played Hue cards, but it probably didn't play the others. So it at least will play the cards. I don't know about the other types of PC Engine games. Hearing American. And this, of course, caught my eye. This is a Sony Trinitron PVM. It says that when they checked it, line A sent an image, but you need some kind of adapter or other. I don't really know what the deal is. It's about 200 bucks. It's beautiful. One day, I will have one of these. Look at it. I love it. And this is cool. These boom boxes in Tokyo, these are kind of like trendy, just as props. People will put it on a shelf in their restaurant or bar and not really use it. And so prices in Tokyo are really high, but here you can get this Toshiba one for 2,700 yen. And here I am back at the campsite, about to eat some snacks and admiring my haul. I got Metal Slug 3 for the PS2, got a beautiful blue Wonder Swan, got Space Invaders Extreme for the DS, and I got that Dodgeball Simple Series game. All in, I was under 5,000 yen, under 50 bucks. I don't remember exactly how much, 4,000 something. But that's a lot of game and a lot of good times for that amount of money. Thanks for joining me as always. Definitely check out other videos in this series if you liked what you saw today. We go all over the place to hard offs and other recycle shops, picking up old game stuff, mostly in Japan. So stick around, subscribe, like, all that fun stuff, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks, folks.